All right, in this lesson in the expedition, and we need to talk about how we do what we do. Um, how can you go out and guide men and do trips, do ministry to men? How can you do that financially? And some of you have a desire to do it full time financially. Some of you may want to only do it on the weekends or do it in your spare time. But I want to tell you, there is a way to do it full time. And it's not easy. I've been doing it for 25 years. I've done both. I've worked. As Paul did, there are times when I have not. I have worked with my hands really for quite a while, whether that's been professionally guiding, whether that's been doing handyman work, or any number of things that I'm skilled at that I've been able to raise money or earn a living beside my ministry. But primarily, what I've done since 2001 is raise support. Okay, raise support. And tell people what I'm doing. Give them the opportunity to give into my ministry, into my mission, and that's the way I've treated it. And I built up a base of support that has been my underlying base of support for years, and it's a part of what we do. It's part of what we want to teach. Tim Little, Barry Strickland, Byron Barlow, and myself have raised money, I guess now for 35, 40 years, some of them. And they're experts. They know what to do. It's a step of faith to go and ask your friends, your family, others. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them about how you want to raise support to support yourself in ministry. So one of the things I like to start with is if you've ever raised money for a mission project, to go on a mission field or go do something, like your church as a youth, you may have had to raise money as a group or raise money. This is the same. You're raising money to go on mission. But I want you to consider it. I want you to consider, how can I raise my support, my expenses for my ministry, for my equipment, for my travel, and for my time. So let's say you're going out for a weekend and you're going to take a group of men for a backpacking trip. All right, you need to be paid for your time. You need to be paid for your equipment or for your food. And that's one place to start. Get a figure and then go and gather your friends. Tell them, hey, I'm doing a ministry trip. I'm doing a mission trip this weekend with men. And tell them what you're going to be doing. And you go and you begin that small step and begin to raise support for an event, for training, for guide training. I would recommend, and most of you are already into it, but what I would recommend is maybe going back and telling people about your guide training. Why are you doing guide training? What's the purpose of that? You need to be sharing that vision and that mission and your hope and your desire to, one day I'd like to be ministering to men in these environments, doing trips, doing events, and let people buy into that. Share that mission, and then ask them to join you by financially supporting you. Maybe a trip, maybe just your travel expenses, or maybe a day of travel or a day of your events. Figure out your time. Figure out what it costs you to go on an event. And just simply go to your friends, go to your family, go to people at work, go to your church friends and say, look, I'm doing this mission, this ministry, and I'd like to raise support. And here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm up to. This is what God has called me to. I've been training. I've been equipping myself. And a laborer, right, is worth his time. He's worth his time and weight. And I would say it's a really good idea to figure out what that time and what that amount is. But then you can go to people and ask them to give according to your goals and what your actual needs are. Lay it out to someone. Hey, I need to make, $300 a day to cover my expenses and to pay myself for my time, to go and do this ministry. Let's say you're doing it as a career. Well, what is it going to take for you to support your family, support yourself? Look, there's more to this. There's formulas. There's ways we can talk about this more in depth as you move through. But the whole purpose of introducing this part of the lesson in the course is that you begin to think about raising your own support. You are a missionary. You're doing on mission with men, whether that's doing events through the year or possibly doing it full time, is you need to think about, how do I raise my support? Think about going to your friends right now, today. Write a letter to your friends, to your family. Let them know what you're doing through the guide training. Let them know about the requirements of guide training, the guide training intensive, your events, and begin to talk to them about providing for you support. Hey, I'm going to have to leave my family and leave my job, and leave my home, and I need to raise the money to go do this. My hope and my desire is to reach men for Christ. And this is the way I want to do it. So consider yourself a missionary going to the mission field and begin to think about raising support for that.